everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Faryal from Scrumptious Cakes by Fairy, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful cake step by step. If you want to learn how to make it, then please keep on watching.
I'm using a bread knife to level my cake sponges. Here I'm taking 3 layers of an 8-inch size cake. Smear a little bit of ganache on an 8-inch cake card and then take the sponge and stick it onto the top. Now add the buttercream and take the palette knife to spread it around evenly. Now add the second layer of your sponge and repeat the process. Now turn the last layer of the sponge upside down to get the smooth and flat top. Get the level of your cake and then put it in the fridge until the buttercream is set. Once the cake is chilled, do a thin layer of white chocolate ganache crumb coat. Now add a dollop of chocolate ganache on the top of the cake and spread it around with the palette knife. I'm taking a 12-inch square cake drum wrapped in greaseproof paper to flip the cake upside down. I have an in-depth tutorial of upside down ganaching method on my YouTube channel. I will link that video in the description down below. Add a generous amount of white chocolate ganache and don't hesitate because we are going to scrape most of it. Now keep the scraper straight at 90-degree angle and slowly move your turntable while scraping the ganache. Don't forget to clean your side scraper after every stroke. If you see the places where it's missing some ganache, then add more ganache and scrape it again. I personally like to use acrylic scraper for the ganache cakes. Once your cake is smooth and you are happy with the results, remove the excess ganache from the top of the cake and then let that sit in the fridge for about half an hour or until the ganache is set. Once your ganache is set, flip the cake back upside down. Now slowly remove the square board from the top. Now brush some plain water on the top and the sides of the cake, and this will help the fondant to stick to the ganache. Roll out pink fondant. I'm using PME brand. Fold the fondant over the rolling pin. Now transfer the fondant sheet over your cake. First smooth the top so you make sure that the fondant sticks on the top. Now gently open up those ruffles and pleats and keep smoothing it out with your hand slowly. Cut off and remove the excess fondant. I'm using 2 acetate smoothers to get the sharp edges on this cake. Now smooth out the sides of the cake. Now prepare a 5-inch cake as we need 2 cakes to make this design. Roll out some white fondant and brush some water over a 12-inch round cake board and cover that cake board with that white fondant. Smooth it out and cut off the extra fondant hanging on the edges of the cake board. Cover another 12-inch board with the pink fondant. Spread a little bit of white chocolate ganache over the pink board. Now move the pink cake over the pink board. Spread a little bit of ganache over the white board and now move the white cake over the white board. Use a Dresden tool or you could use any pointy tool to make the lines on the white cake board, and it will create a really beautiful texture. The strokes will push out some fondant, so cut off the excess fondant with a sharp knife and the end result should look like this. Dust some icing sugar into the horse mold and tap off the excess. Now push in your modeling paste into the mold. I'm using Renshaw flour and modeling paste. Now take the knife and cut off the excess from the top, leveling the mold. Now gently push out the modeling paste from the mold. Should pop out very easily. Take a very fluffy brush and brush off the icing sugar. I'm going to use this Baroque mold to make the border for the pink cake. Color match the pink modeling paste from the pink cake to make the border. About 8 to 10 pieces of it. I'm going to use this frame mold to make about 8 pieces of frames. You would rather have some extra than getting short while you are making your cake. I'm going to make some pearl border for the cake as well. Some plain water or edible glue to attach the pearl border on the side of the cake. Apply the glue at the back of Baroque pieces we made and start attaching it to the cake to make a border. And the border should look like this. It's time to add our frame mold. Apply the glue at the back of the frame and stick it in between the triangular Baroque mold. The frame fits perfectly between the Baroque design. A piece of white fondant to fill in the center of the frame mold. Now this is the part where everything comes to life. All of that design I created using the molds, I'm going to paint it gold. For the gold, I'm using fake Hill Luster Dust in the shade Signature Gold and Shimmer Gold. I like to mix 50-50 of both shades to get this perfect color of the gold. Mix the dust with either rejuvenator or lemon extract to make the paint and then paint over the design. I would like to share a tip here. So when you are using mold to make the design on the cake and that design you have to paint with any other color, always make sure that you are color matching the gum paste with the base color of the cake. So in case if you miss a spot or two while you are painting your design, it won't show up as much as it would if it's any other color. Paint the hair and the tail of the horses with the gold dust. Now let the horses dry completely before we proceed to the next step. Take the metallic paper straws and cut them to the same height as the cake. Add a little bit of royal icing at the back of the horses. Make sure the horses have dried completely and they are rock solid. Then attach the straws at the back of the horses and let them dry. 2 round circles for each straw. Take a round cookie cutter and make an impression in front of the white cake. Roll out a very thin sausage of white fondant. You could also use extruder gun for this step. Apply glue where we made the mark with the cookie cutter. Now take that rolled fondant string and attach it over that mark we created with the cookie cutter, and this will make a perfect circle. I'm going to use this mold to create 2 scrolls for the top of the circle and 2 scrolls for the bottom of the circle, and it should look like this. I personally like to freehand paint my cakes, but if you are not confident enough to do this, you could also use embossers or cut out letters from the cutters. Now paint the border and the scrolls with the gold paint. Apply some edible glue over the 2 ends of the straws. Attach 1 circle at the bottom of the straw and 1 circle at the top of the straw. Stick the straws around the cake. Let the straws lean a little bit over the cake. I added 6 horses. Add about 6 doubles to this cake, 1 in the center and 5 on the sides. Spread a little bit of ganache to stick the top tier. Make sure the white board is perfectly aligned with the bottom pink board. Now position the straws straight. Use the glue and make sure the white circle from the top of the straw is securely attached underneath the white cake board. Paint the white circles with the gold paint. You could just leave it white, but I decided to paint them. Push a kebab skewer in the middle of the cake and then slide over the straw with the horse. Use the glue to securely attach the bottom circle to the cake. Roll out some white modeling paste and then cut out scallop strips using the FMM Frill Cutter Set 1, and this will go around the white board. Use the edible glue to attach the scallop strips to the board. You could also use a non-edible ribbon instead of this border. Now paint the scallop border with the gold paint and our cake is done.
I hope you find this tutorial helpful. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!